Welcome back to another Form Check Friday. Let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to another Form Check Friday. I'm Paul. Clint is in the other room, mad at me. I took away his squeaky ball because it's very distracting and he's pouting outside. So he won't be here today. You guys are here, I'm here. We've got a lot of submissions. We've got some new people, some returning people, and I'm excited to get into all of it. My training update this week is pretty boring. I was out of town. I went to Stanley, Idaho, again, to Redfish Lake, which is like my favorite place here. I just went a few weeks ago, but my folks came into town and I went up there with my girlfriend. So bit of a life update. She is now my fiance. So uneventful on the training side, eventful on the life side. I got engaged this weekend and very excited about that. I will give you guys a few pictures and then we'll move on to your training. This is the future Mrs. Horn and Clint. We went out on a boat, popped the question. My mom and I at the lake. Amazing weekend, great weather. Started to get a little cloudy. Storm started coming in right after the proposal, so snapped this picture, had some champagne, and then ran in from the rain. My mom and Sarah, and this is us. So yeah, it was a good week and exciting, and she said yes, so that's a good thing. All right, enough about me. Let's get into why you guys are all here, which is your form checks, and we will just start with the first guy. As you guys know, I have not seen any of these, so we're doing this all in real time for me. So let's go to the first guy, TJ here, and looking for some updated feedback on my squat. Last feedback I received was to get some lifting shoes, yes, and fix the knee slide by working on getting the knees out immediately while thinking of the squat like a platform elevator accordion thing. Scissor lift, it's called a scissor lift. Background, 2 years in, ran LP for 16 weeks. It's a short LP, followed by, we probably talked about this before. So followed by 3-day Texas method variation, 16 weeks with a deload, and have been on the 4-day Texas method with a few deloads for a while. Current max is 415 on the squat, 415 on the deadlift, 335 squat. Bench is 255 and no press. You probably explained why before. Okay, let's take a look and see the improvements on the squat. Alrighty. Ah, yes, my man. Okay, so let's see if we can get this started. Where's my play button? Why is it doing that? Oh, I have to hit this? Okay. Why isn't this playing? Is this just like a picture? Or am I missing something? Let me see if I make it smaller. Nope. Nope. Let's try reloading. This is uneventful. Okay. We might just have a photo here. Maybe I can download it? No, I don't want to import to the photos. I just want to download it. And, oh, it's just a JPEG, dude. Okay, so unless I'm missing something, you just posted a picture of yourself getting under the rack. So can't really coach much on that one. Let me see if maybe it reloads something different. It says one video. Why can't I see it? I don't know. It's just saying that it is a information. It is a full-size render JPEG. But it does say it's a video. I don't know. This is kind of a bummer. But we will move to the next guy, and I don't know, maybe I'm having some issues, but we'll see if anyone else comes up. Are there any more from iCloud here? Let's see if this one comes up. Nope. Oh, Dick's got the little video icon there. So yeah, yours does not have that. All right. Well, we'll move on to the next one. Sorry, man. Feel free to post it on a thread or something in Reddit, and maybe I can take a look this week or you can just save it for next week. We will move on to Mike. Would love some feedback on my squat form before it starts getting heavy. Thanks so much. 195 by 5. All right, let's hope this plays. And we'll check out Mike's squat here. And let me kill this volume. All right, move me a little closer. High bar. So you got the bar too high on your back. And okay, whoa, slow down, buddy. All right. Mike, we got to talk, man. Okay. All right. So I'm glad that you posted this before it got heavy. We're going to break down a couple of things here you got to work on. So the first thing is your bar position. So that is a high bar squat, which means you got the bar up here on your traps, and we need it over the posterior deltoids down here. So in the low bar position, this is, let me just make sure I got the, kind of like halfway, like you're almost there, but that bar needs to come down probably about 2 inches lower. So I'm going to rip through this, and then I'm going to give you a video to watch that will help you dial this in, hopefully, if you haven't seen it already. So the problem with the bar position being too high is that it's going to change all the things that I'm going to tell you about fixing your squat. Most of them will be corrected automatically when you put the bar in the right place. When you lower the bar, it forces you to lean over more than you would in a high bar position to keep the bar over the middle of your foot. Leaning over more puts your butt back more, stretches out more muscle in the posterior chain, and allows you to lift more weight because you're using more muscle mass at one time. So that's why we want the low bar position, which is right below the spine of the scapula. And I will give you some links to a tutorial video for that. I should probably put those in like the Reddit description. Anyway, let's just cover some basics here, and I can help you out as much as I can. Again, a lot of this is going to get corrected just by having the bar in the right place. So your grip looks pretty good. Bar position, again, is too high. Stance looks okay, maybe a little narrow. You want heels under the shoulders, so your heels should be underneath the sort of outsides of your shoulders, toes pointed. So I think your stance might be a little too narrow, but you can play around with that. Depth is the vertical back angle that you're taking on the way down, like you're too upright, and that is a side effect of having the bar too high up on your back. Doing a high bar squat is going to keep you more vertical, like I just said. So you lower the bar, you'll lean over more, you'll lift more weight. Depth is off, so that's not the bottom, okay? So if we look at the top of your kneecap and the crease in your hip right here, you can see if I put a marble on your thigh with this angle, it's gonna roll this way, right? Sorry, ignore that. If I put a marble on your thigh, it's gonna roll this way, right? Because we've got this angle here. It's gonna roll towards your knee. I want that marble to roll back towards your hip, which means you need to be more, let me see if I can get that to clear. You need to be more like this, okay? So you got black on black here, but the hip crease, if this is your knee, your hip crease needs to drop below the top of your kneecap. That's all the way down. That's where we're stretching everything out. That's where you're going to feel the stretch reflex. So you've got to get lower to do that. Widen your stance a little bit, and then shoving the knees out real hard is going to allow you to drop down lower, and then just making yourself go lower than you want to. And then on the way up, let's just see how the depth is on a couple of these. Yeah, that one was way high. Way high. Yeah, so you got about, I don't know, a couple more inches of depth here that you got to get down there, okay? A little bit lower. And then on the way up, you're not using your hips at all. So what we want out of the bottom, and I'll see if I can pause this here. So out of this bottom position, the first thing that I want to see move up is this. Your low back should come up first, okay? Not your shoulders. I don't want you driving your chest up. I want you driving your butt up. That's where all the power is. Now, part of that is your difficulty doing that is because, again, you've got the bar too high. So you're basically doing a high bar squat, which keeps you more vertical, makes it harder to tap into that hip drive. If you lean over more, you're in a better position to drive your ass up. Your power is down here, my man, okay, in the posterior chain. Hip drive means this comes up first. So when I'm watching you squat and come up out of the bottom, my eyes are here, and I'm looking for, if this is your butt, I'm looking for that to pop. That's the bounce, right? That's the drive up here. And then this angle is going to lock back in, and you're going to carry it up like that. So you're going to lean over more right away, take it down. You're going to get that little bounce because you shoved your knees out and you got all the way to depth. And then you're going to spring out of that bounce. Your butt's going to come up about 2 inches first, and then the rest of you is going to follow along. What I'm seeing right now from you is this: your shoulders are coming up first. You're just trying to stand up, like you're opening up like a clam. And that's putting all the work here on the quads. So the quads are doing all the work. Quads are going to help out no matter what type of squat you do. But what you're leaving out is the glutes, the hamstrings, the adductors, all the stuff in your posterior chain or posterior chain. That muscle mass is useful, and you want to tap into it because, again, it'll help you lift more weight. So lean over more, get deeper, get that bounce, drive your ass up first. And then when you get closer to the top, you can stand up. But if we watch what happens with you, if we're keeping our eyes on the bar here, you're going to see you just drive your shoulders straight up, right? If we watch your butt, there's no hip drive in your butt at all. And I want to see that hip drive. I want to see that butt pop out of the bottom. Let me see if I can quickly find a video here that gives you a good example of hip drive. Let me see if this is it. Yeah, so this is one of my former clients, and just a great example of hip drive. So watch his butt when he does all these. Just keep your eyes on his hips. Boom, you see his butt move up first? That little pop, that's hip drive. That's where the power is. You lean over, you drive your ass up first, okay? So it should look like that. Those are the big things you're gonna have to fix. Now for help, if you go to hornstrength.com/videos and you scroll down to the big ones here, the exercise library, we've got how to squat. And if you click on that, you're gonna see 2 videos. This video is just a demo of me squatting. This video is from the Starting Strength guys and the channel. It's a full tutorial on how to squat, where to put the bar, every step-by-step that's out of the book is kind of in that video summarized. And it's an excellent video and tutorial on how to do it. You can find that on YouTube. And then I have written out all my instructions, everything I could think of, tips, things to think about. So take some time, look at those videos, read through these descriptions and the tips, and work on that. And then go ahead and, once you think you have it, throw up another video and we can fine tune the corrected form. Okay? Because like I said, a lot of this is going to get corrected just by having the bar in the right place. Okay? So lower bar, lean over more, go deeper, get your knees out, maybe widen your stance a little bit, drive your ass up, stay leaned over on the way up as long as you can before you lift your chest at the end. Okay? Work on that stuff. Thanks for the submission, and we will keep going, and I'll look forward to seeing an updated version in the next week or 2 weeks, whenever you get to it. All right, man. Moving on. The Good Doctor posting 2 squat videos as per your previous feedback. This form felt the best yet. Thanks for all your help. Here's the normal angle, and I believe, yes, and I asked for one directly behind you. I think I wanted to look at your knee position or something. So let's watch the original one first, and we'll see what we got to deal with here. All right. Oh yeah, you had the really wide stance last time. Good. Okay. So I'm going to watch a few of these. So you narrowed your stance a little bit. Okay, that one was sticky because you didn't use your hips. You just tried to lift your chest too soon. All right. One more. Okay. Overall, much better than what we've seen before. So let me take another look and see if I can fine tune this for you. So one of the things, and I've talked about this a lot with a lot of guys on this channel, is starting with your upper back, setting your upper back. So you'll notice that as soon as this is a tick that a lot of guys have. So you're actually doing what I was gonna tell you to do a little bit, which is when you take the bar out and you walk it out and you get set, when you take that breath, you're gonna puff your chest up, chin down, right? And almost like you're kind of shrugging into the bar a little bit, right? But this thoracic extension right here is what we want. I want a little arch and tightness in your upper back to keep that tight. Once that's tight, then all you have to do is lean over and keep it. So you're actually doing that right there. Right there, you just kind of did it. And you can see I've got this little crease up here in your back where I can see that you're trying to arch. The problem is, and this is where a lot of guys screw this up, is they do that, and then as soon as they start the squat, they forget about it. And rather than keeping this position tight like this and then just leaning over while maintaining it, right? Just leaning like that. As they start the squat, they dump, the elbows come up and the back rounds and they dump the bar up their back. So it's the act of leaning over where they think the hip flexion, I always get those mixed flexion, the hip flexion has something to do with the elbows coming up, right? And and losing that thoracic extension. And if you pay attention to your upper back right here, you'll see that as soon as you start to lean over, you lose that arch and your elbows lift up. See how you kind of dump it up like that? And now you're soft. Now your upper back's soft. The elbows are like up, way up like this, okay? And that's gonna shove the bar up onto your neck more. And you're gonna feel it roll up on your neck more. And in order to save it from basically falling over your head, you're gonna have to lift your chest. It's gonna be this natural reaction where you're like, I'm gonna dump this over my head. I need to lift my chest, which is gonna kill your hip drive, right? So if we watch, that one was okay, but they get worse. So you're setting, and then that tipping, right? Now the hip drive's starting to go away because the bar's probably scooting a little bit as you keep dumping it. See that right there where you lifted? So if we watch your shoulders here, down and then the head comes up. That's another common reaction, right? That kicking the head back to try and keep the bar from going over your head. I say this all the time. When you lift your head, you lift your chest. So your chin is going to follow your chest is going to follow your chin. So as you're coming up in the squat, if you lift your chin up, you're going to naturally lift your chest, which kills your hip drive, and then you lose all your power, okay? So let's talk about how we fix this stuff. Now, before we get to that, let me just watch the hips and stuff. Depth is like, again, you're like, I don't want you to go any wider on these squats but that's too deep. So you're just flexible. You're just gonna have to, well, actually good, you posted the other video, so I can take a look at that. But before I do that, let me just, put all my cards on the table here or venture a guess. You're just gonna be one of these rare guys that has to you just have to cut your squat off. You just can go deeper than you need to. Now, one of the things that will happen is when you fix this sort of roundedness here and you set that upper back and then maintain it all the way down. So even when you're leaned over at the bottom like this, you're still arched up like that. That extension will come down to your lumbar spine here and it will tilt your pelvis like in a deadlift, right? So the thoracic extension will lead down. It's like this wave of extension that goes down to the lumbar extension. And then that will position your hips more up here, kind of like this. And it will stretch out those adductors a little bit higher up in the rep. So you won't be able to get as deep. So it's possible that if you just really commit to this chest up arch position and you hold it all the way down. So you just forget, like, nothing from, I say this to all my guys, but like, let me see if I can find it. once you set your chest and your back in extension at the top of the rep, nothing from here to here, this whole segment, nothing should move. Your head shouldn't move, your chest shouldn't round or cave in, or your elbows shouldn't move, your wrist shouldn't move. That whole segment right to the hip joint, from your head to your hip joint, should just be rigid and solid, and nothing moves. The only thing that happens is you lean over, right? It just goes like this, but the segment itself is rigid, and then it just flexes at the hip. And if you do that, again, think about setting your back for a deadlift. Just think you're setting it standing up rather than setting it in that leaned over position for the deadlift. But you take that breath, chest up, everything tight, everything locked, nothing moves. Elbows don't move, nothing moves. You just lean over at the waist. Once you can get that dialed in, then again, it's probably gonna bring up your depth a little bit, and it's gonna eliminate all that sensation of the bar rolling up on your neck and having to lift your chin. So head position, like keep your head down the whole time. Do not lift it, right? But a lot of that is stemming from this tendency to round your back once you start the rep, okay? So let me go back to the lower half. But yeah, that's like way too deep there. So you're gonna have to cut that off, and hopefully, extending the lumbar spine will tighten that up a little higher. Hip drive it's okay. And again, this is stemming from rounding your back, and that one, we got no hip drive. So the ass has to lead you up out of the bottom. And that one, so this is, again, we're lifting the chest too soon. But if we go back to the first one, let me see and we watch your butt. Yeah, like that's good hip drive there. So I know you can do it, right? It's in there, but you're having to compensate for the bar moving around and the looseness in your upper back, and it's having an impact on your ability to actually drive your butt up. So hopefully if we fix those things, you can focus on just leaning over at the waist, staying leaned over, driving your butt up, and staying leaned over as long as you can on the way up. Okay? But again, much better than last time, for sure. Like, we're getting there. And these are all very common issues. Lots of guys deal with this stuff. So you're not unique here. There's the chin again. Okay, so we kind of tackled that stuff. Let's look at the other video that you sent directly behind, just so I can see what's going on. Because you do have, you're flexible. Okay, so I'm a little tilted here. All right, let me see. So that stance, wow, good Lord, you're flexible. Jesus. Okay. So yeah, you've got that's, I wouldn't want you to go any wider than that. So we'll just watch. I just want to see what the knees are doing here. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see here. See if I can pause this. So we got knee here. Toe is out here like this. Knee is, gotta get in a little close here. This is black on black. It looks to me like your toe's going that way and your knee's kind of going that way. So believe it or not, which is crazy, it actually looks like you could shove your knee out a little harder here. And you should. It looks to me like the toe, the knee and the toe are supposed to be perfectly lined up like this, and it looks like your toe's kind of out like that. So if you can get your knee out a little bit more, which is crazy, given how flexible you are, you might get a little, again, that might bring up where you feel the limit of your stretch. Because if the knees are coming in a little bit, it slacks the adductors. You can drop down lower than you want to before you feel that stretch reflex. If you keep the knee jacked out hard over the toes, you're going to feel that stretch higher up into the rep, if that makes sense. So, this could be camera angles messing with me. It's not much, but it looks to me, let's see if it moves in. That'll be even more useful. All right, so if we watch your knee on the way down, yeah, okay, watch. So let me see if I can slow this down. Let me see if I can use my little, we'll slow it down to like half speed. Okay, so watch your, pay attention to your left knee. And what we're gonna see is it's gonna go out, and then right at the bottom, it's gonna come in so that you can get that extra depth that you don't need. So let's put it out, see, and then watch it, and then see how it moves in a little bit? It's pretty subtle, but it's going out really well all the way, and then kind of that one not so much. Let me see what happens on this last one. Yeah, that you know what? You stop shoving it out as hard. So that's what happened. Okay, so we caught the good one, or the one that illustrates the point here, which is that you have the ability to shove it out as far as I want, but you think you need to go lower than you do. So right at the point that you should be hitting the knee should be out as wide as they're ever going to be, and you should feel that stretch and start coming back up. You still think you need to go a little deeper, which I appreciate. But in order to do that, you have to let the knee come in a little bit to give you more room in the groin muscles. So cut it off. What I mean when I say cut it off is just decide you're going to come up higher than you think you should. Now, most people have the other problem, which is they don't go deep enough. But you have this ability to go, you think your perception is that depth is lower than it really is. So jack the knees out real hard, take it down, and as soon as you start to feel it tighten up, rather than keep going, bounce and try and drive your butt back up. Okay? And then all the other stuff we already talked about. But I think if you work on those two things, jacking that knee out as hard as you can, and then cutting depth off a little bit to avoid that caving, we're going to be in a good place. Okay? So hope this helps, and work on that stuff, upper back. Remember, head to the hip, nothing deforms, nothing moves at all. If you watch your video and you see your elbows are moving around, your head's moving around, it's wrong. Okay, so if you see that on your warm-ups, watch those videos and then correct it for your work sets, okay? Good luck. Post up another video. We'll keep dialing this in until we get it perfect, and we will move on here. So, oh yeah, my phone wasn't level. Okay, got it. All right, man, thank you very much. Good luck, and we'll see you soon. All right, Dick, did I skip anybody? Okay, Dick is back from vacation. Light day squat, 145 kilos for 3 sets of 5. This is the third set. I think I got my eye in a bit better by this one. What I have been working on from last week, keeping my head locked in a neutral position, shoving my knees out. I think this has gone okay. Head is certainly not nodding as much. Problem this week, this has affected how soon I'm leaning over. And I don't think I'm staying in my hips long enough. I swear I will get this completely correct. One day you did before you left. They were great. Excuse me. I just love to keep coming back. Well, I'm happy you're here, man. So you keep doing this, and I'll keep helping you until we dial in. Then we won't talk anymore. What are we going to do? I guess we'll just deal with programming issues. Okay. All right. Let's see Dick's comeback. Those are some rusty weights, man. All right. It's very hardcore. Very, they like match the color of your socks. All right. Let's see the head movement. You're thinking too much. Okay. Good head position. Okay. That was an improvement. Knees. Good. Little bit of knee cave. Little bit of knee cave. No hip drive on that one. A little shallow too, lifting the chest too soon. All right, let's see one more. Yeah, loosen. Okay. You fixed the head. Good. So we can celebrate that. Your deal here, and we talked about this. Yeah, I think you mentioned it here that your issue is leaning over, which it is. You're taking the entire rep to finally get as leaned over as you need to be. And part of it is just you're overthinking this. Obviously, you're standing there thinking about every possible thing that you need to do correctly. And see, you're so vertical right there. Like, that's where you're going to be when you come up, like this angle. And so you need to get into that angle. We've talked about this before. You need to get into that angle. By the time you're here, you should be as leaned over as you're going to be at the bottom. So you're just trying to stay too upright. It's probably because you're thinking about the knees. On that one, again, if we watch your butt here, come up out of the bottom, right? What's depth on this one's good. I think it creeps up a little bit. But if we watch down here, and I want to see that come up first, we're going to start to see this come up like that. So let's watch. Oh, it was a little scoopy. Let's watch your chest on this one. It's just, yeah, we're getting into that scoop again. So it's like knees come in a little bit. Let me see that one. I want to watch that one again. Yeah, the hip drive is like, it's in there. It's in there. I retract my previous statement, but you're just getting out of it too soon. Like you're as soon as it, here's the deal. As soon as it gets hard, as soon as you start to feel the resistance, you know, after you start to drive your butt up and then it starts to get into that middle section, which is really hard, your instinct is just like, okay, I guess I'm done with hip drive, time to stand up. That's not what you should be thinking. That difficulty is not an indicator that you're done with hip drive. Hip drive is not just like the first couple inches. It's all the way up until you're like almost to the top. So once you feel that, it is not a signal to lift your chest. You're not there yet. You got to keep pushing. You got to keep driving from the hips, right? Maintain that back angle higher into the rep. And then you can stand up, if that makes sense. Okay? So you got to stay in your hips longer, right? I think you even said that. Staying in my hips long enough. Yeah, okay. So you know, but dude, by this point, you should be coaching. You know all your own issues here. So get leaned over faster. Just commit to it, man. Like, get your ass back. Like, your goal should be, when you're thinking about this, right? Your goal should be nipples are going to touch here. You're just going to stamp your nipples down there, right? Lean the hell. Like, I want you thinking about having a back angle like this. Like, just try and get horizontal. Like, you won't be able to because of the balance issue, but you could do more than that. And also I want you thinking about, you know, chest is going down, ass is going back, right? You're just like, boom, like chest down, butt back, leaned over. As much as you can commit to right away. I think you can take your focus off the knees a little bit, and because you're really focused on getting the knees out, forward and out right away. But then as soon as you lean over, I mean, it's preventing you from setting your back angle. So it has to be hips and knees at the same time, right? And you finally hit that position at the bottom. So, yeah, way too vertical there. Way too vertical. That's really the deal. Yes, the knees are coming in a little bit, but it's all tied into the fact that like you still aren't in the correct, your back is not in the correct position as you reach the bottom. So it has to assume that position as you start to drive up, and that's where that circular thing starts to come from. This is subtle though, which is good, but the knees come in, the back changes, all of that happens. If you set that back angle early, then all you have to do is take it up and down. Right? Because it's already set. And then your job is just maintenance. Just don't let it change except for that little hip drive. But the 90% of the ascent, 95% of the ascent is going to have that same back angle. Okay? Lean over right away. Stay leaned over as long as you can on the way up. That's it. Lean over right away and stay leaned over as long as you can on the way up. And those are the missing pieces here. And then on top of that, like, think about this less, because I could see it. You're thinking way too much here. All that being said, the head looks great. So it's really your homework for next week is to get leaned over faster and stay leaned over longer. And again, if you're not doing this, Go back to working on those pause squats. You need to feel the correct bottom position. Do the bounced version, do the static version. Just get down to that bottom position, feel it, internalize it, make it like this is home. This is what home feels like when I'm tight at the bottom and leaned over, and then get to home as quickly as you can. Okay? Good, man. Let's do it again. We'll keep going, but show me a video next week where you are leaning over way the hell faster, because that's what I want to see. All right? You're hesitating way too much on that part, and it's kind of affecting everything else. So good work on the head, and I'm sure I will see you soon, and probably next week. Let's keep going till we get back to that beautiful set before vacation. All right, here we go. Hey, coach, reporting back after I worked on my squats, had some vacation in France with awesome cheese. Excellent. And dropped down a bit of weight to work on form. It's not 100% yet, but I feel like now is an appropriate time to post a video as you requested so I can stay on track. Feedback from the last video was that I go down way too quick, which leads to a lot of instability during the squat. I feel like this is much better, except rep 7, where I lost tension and dropped down. So we got, what is this, a set of 8? Cool. Let's take a look. Oh, right. This awesome, like, gym in, like, the Coliseum or something. All right. Why won't this go away? There we go. Okay, here we go. Let's watch these. Much better. Much better speed. Beautiful depth. Beautiful depth. Head is down. Hit lots of hip drive. Great pop out of the bottom. That one you went a little forward, it looks like. But you're getting tired, so I'm not going to give you too much shit for that. Dude. Very, very nice set here. Okay. I admit that was 7. That must have been 7. Very nice. Very nice set, man. That was like home run. And I gave you a lot of shit last time. I was talking about your stuff for a long time. I mean, you must have taken all the notes, because like these are fantastic. Or maybe just slowing it down helped, which is what we want. Let me just watch a couple of these again. So I'll nitpick a little bit, and I'm not as 100% sure this is happening. I get a feeling it might be on some of these reps, not all of them, but just be aware of the weight on your foot, the pressure on your foot, right? Heels and toes. And maybe we talked about this before, but we want even distribution. So the whole way down, up and down, you should feel even pressure on the toes and the heels. If at any point you feel it go to the heels or you feel the weight shift to the toes, it's wrong. And I have a slight hunch. It's really hard to tell with these cameras and stuff, but I mean, sometimes it's obvious because your heel lifts up. In fact, I think maybe your heel was lifting up. It's hard to remember, but we may have talked about this before. In any case, just be aware that if you feel it as you drive your butt up, if you feel the weight shift onto the balls of your feet a little bit, it's wrong. And that's going to shift the whole system forward, and then you're going to have to lift your chest too soon to save it. So you want to make sure, like if you do a rep and you go, hey, on that one, I felt a little bit of extra pressure on my toes. When you pause at the top and reset and find your zen, right? Make that your focus for the next rep. Hey, I think I was getting a little forward on that last one. Okay, on this one, I'm going to try and stay back a little more. Like overdo it. I'm going to try and keep a little bit more weight on my heels as I drive out of the bottom. And hopefully you overcorrect and you do it. And that's how you play this game, right? The game is you do a rep, and then in that brief moment where you're resetting at the top, you think about one or two things that weren't quite right, and you focus on those for the next rep. So you can only really give yourself one thing to think about, maybe two, like maybe something for the descent and something for the ascent. But like just pick one noticeable issue that you know is like a big one, and make that your focus every rep. It's like, okay, fix that. Now weight was even, but I felt like my elbows were moving. So on the next rep, I'm going to try and keep my elbows down, or whatever it is. But just take one rep at a time. Again, that's why that pause in between is so useful, because you can have these conversations with yourself about what to focus on. So like I said, I feel like maybe you got a little forward on one of them. It's not bad at all. Like your heels aren't lifting up. Maybe that one. Maybe there's another one. Again, you're probably getting tired. But man, these are nice. These are very nice. And again, since we're here, that one got a little crooked, but again, you're doing 8. So this might be the one. Yeah, okay, we'll go back to when you're fresh. The only other thing, like I said, since we're here and I'm nitpicking, is this, which I talked about earlier in the form check video. This is a little soft for me, your upper back. I'd like to see, rather than that curve, I'd like to see the opposite, which is like a, back extension, like you're setting your back in a deadlift. So once you walk it out, and right there, when you take that breath and you kind of just jacked your elbows up, which actually makes it worse, because if you jack your elbows up and drop your chest, that roundness is just going to get worse. What we want is, as you lift the elbows up a little bit to get that shelf going, you're also going to lift your chest up. So I'll give you, your example was like you take your breath and you just hunch over, right? What I want is you take your breath, right? And so the elbows still come up a little bit, but the chest comes up too, right? So the right elbow position, and this is something I probably haven't talked about before, but the way that you find your elbow position in the squat is you set your grip and you get under it, and then before you take it out, you puff your chest up as much as you can. And then, this is a key part, you lift with the chest up, you lift your elbows as much as you can. And they will only move like an inch, but as high as they can without letting this collapse, right? So if you do this, that's how your elbows will be way up in the air and your back will be round. But if you do the chest first and then lock it with the elbows, let me see if I can get a better angle here. So you're here, you're soft, right? Chest up, elbows up, right? But this first and then this, okay? And then once you get the hang of it, you can kind of do them at the same time, like, they both happen together. But try that, and try it with your warm-ups, like very lightweight before you take the bar out of the rack. Chest up, elbows up, feel that. And then in between reps, you're going to lose that. You're probably going to come up and your back's going to go soft a little bit, especially when you're doing 8. So between each rep, take that breath, right? And reset that chest up, elbows up position. Okay, but it's not just elbows up, no chest. That's the kicker, because otherwise you end up with your elbows super high, like I just said. So work on that with your light weights, like every rep with your warm-ups. Be deliberate about chest up, elbows up, head position, got my air, go. And run through that checklist. Come back up, okay, stance, balance, head position, big breath, chest up, elbows up, tight, lean over. And then just run through that checklist every time until you don't have to think about it anymore, okay? But home run, man. Like, really, really good work. And you took all the notes. I think really just slowing it down gave you time to adjust. So I'm hoping that you're happy. I'm super happy with these. And let's get that upper back tight, and I think you're going to be golden. You should be throwing some big weights around. So keep us posted. Come back, post another video. Let's take a look at your deadlift or something, and we'll keep going. Thank you, and we'll do our last guy. All right, my man. As suggested, worked on adding some zen, and things certainly feel better. And the knee cave has improved. So the guy we just did before you, same deal. You guys both had this like rushing thing where you're just going too quickly. So slowing down in between reps. Good. As suggested, I've recorded some pause squats too. So let's take a look at the pause squats, and then we'll look at the normal squats. All right, here we go. There, ooh. Okay, let's see if those get better. Fishing around for the bottom a little bit, that's okay. There, hips, yes, good. Chest. All right. Okay, good. So that's the point, is you kind of had to rock back a little bit to balance. Let's see if you go right. Yeah, okay. So you notice every time here you're getting there and then you have to shift back. There we go. Okay, good. So by the 5th rep, this is exactly what this exercise is for. By the 5th rep, you were able to go directly to the correct balance position without having to do that little shift back. That's your target. That's what you're aiming for. So this one, we're fishing around like crazy. This is a great example of why we do these, right? Now you found it and you came back up. Now you're going to go down and get better, but still that tiny little, I mean, these are minor shifts in pressure on your foot. There, and then that little shift back, you found it. So you know where it is, right? The challenge is, can you get there without having to rock back like that? And you finally nail it on this one. I think this is your last one. You go there and just boom, and then back up. Okay, so the goal is that all of your reps will look like that last one. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so excellent work on that. Those look great. Hopefully this translates or transfers over to the squats. Fingers crossed. Let's see. All right. Come on, man. Just go right to that sweet bottom position. Okay. All right. Little hybrid pause squat there. Yes. Okay. I've got a few things, but these are good. That's the chest lifting, right? So that's a good example right there of you're going to come, I think this is the last one. You're going to come up out of the bottom and you're going to hit that sticking point with your hips, right? We were talking about this with Dick earlier, where you hit that, where you get the spring, you kind of get the hip, the stretch reflex, and it's moving because you got that mechanical bounce, and then it starts to get hard, and that's when you think, I'm done driving my hips, and I start to lift my chest. But you have to push through that with the hips. So if we watch your butt and then it sticks and you notice your head comes back and you start lifting your chest too soon. So that's not the cue to lift your chest. You got to push. And because it just gets harder, it just kills your hip drive more. So rather than, right there is where you start to stick, right? And so what's going to happen is you're going to start lifting this up. And what you should be doing is keeping this down and continuing to drive this up through that sticking point. That's the challenge, right? Because you feel like it's time for me to start opening up my hips. It's like, no, you gotta stay leaned over a little longer than you want to, maintain this back angle, and drive both of these up basically at the same time. But don't start lifting the chest as soon as it gets hard. That's not the signal to lift the chest. That's the signal that you need more speed coming out of the bottom, more aggression to carry you through, and to stay with the hips longer. Okay? But in terms of, that's a very common thing, and you're doing a good job here. And these are a lot better than before. So let's watch one more time. I think really my only feedback is going to be to, again, try and lean over a little faster and stay leaned over longer, which is what I've said that pretty much on a lot of these videos today. Depth is good. You could maybe sit back. Remember, your issue with the pause squats you discovered is when you get to the bottom, you're always a little forward of balance. So you always have to shift back a little bit. So it's the same thing here on these. Sit back more, just lean over more, and then your first half of the descent. Okay, so write this down or make a note of it somewhere. Your first half, I'm only talking about the descent here. The first half of the descent is all about you getting leaned over by the halfway point. So by the time you're halfway down, you're done leaning over, which in your case means you got to lean over a little bit faster. You just have to commit to it. You got to be like, it should feel like you leaned over too fast, because again, what you think is right is wrong. So you got to make it feel wrong to be right. So, which means it's going to feel like you committed too much. That's the first half. Set my back angle by the halfway point. Then the second half of the rep, basically from where we are right now to the bottom, is reaching back with your hips. Because you've already leaned over as much as you need to. Now you just need to get your butt back and down. Stretch out those adductor muscles, stretch into the bottom, right? Shove your butt back, pull off the knee, right? Till you get that nice springy bounce out of the bottom. So lean over, and then once you hit the halfway point, you switch your focus to sit back, right? Lean over, and then hips back and down, hips back and down. That's the descent. Those are the two parts of that for you. And then on the way up, it's just hip drive, right? Drive my butt up out of the bottom and stay leaned over as long as I can, right? Lean over right away, stay leaned over as long as you can on the way up, right? Longer than you want to. So lean over faster than you want to right away. Sit back more than you want to because you always end up a little bit forward and you have to rock back on those pause squats. So sit back a little more than you want to. Drive your butt up a little bit harder than you want to, and stay leaned over a little longer than you want to, right? Wherever you feel like I should start lifting my chest, just keep that back angle a couple more inches and you'll be good. Okay? I'm just going to watch a couple more. I mean, your depth is awesome. Your hip drive's awesome. Your knees look good. It's just getting that back angle set. And that was a good one. You hung onto that back angle very well there. And you're fishing around for, so you notice your head kick back on that one, right? Because you hit that sticking point, you started to lift your chest, killed your hip drive. And the only way to save yourself was like, just throw my head back and stand up, if you do that with heavy enough weight, it will actually smoke your your spinal erectors. You won't feel it until you go to deadlift and the bar won't come up off the ground. But that's a story for another time. Excellent work, man. Like, these are really good. Like, we're 99% of the way there. You just got to do a couple things that you're already doing a little bit sooner. Okay. So keep it up. Super happy with these all around. You guys did really good work. And, today, like a lot of people, a lot of these ones we've been working on for a while have cleaned up tremendously. Like, makes me very happy to see that you guys are like taking the advice and then coming back with something that looks a lot better. So that's very rewarding for me. And I hope it's, obviously I hope the weights are feeling easier for you. I always tell people, like, I'm trying to tell you how to do this the easy way. I'm not trying to make this harder for you. I'm trying to teach you how to do it as efficiently as possible so that it's actually easier, and then we can lift more weight. So we did it. I think we hit everybody, and we did it in under an hour. So that's good. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you guys. You guys go do your homework, work on all the notes and stuff, and we will do this again in 1 week. I will see you. In the meantime, I'm on the Reddit board every day. So if you have questions in the meantime, throw them up there and I will get back to you. And if not, I will see you guys in a week. Thank you, everybody, for being a part of this, participating, watching, commenting, emails, whatever. I appreciate all of it very much. And I'm excited every Friday to get to do this with you. So thanks for being a part of it. And I'll see you guys next week.